Cheers. Oh. Mine's just water, so it doesn't matter much if it spills.
I didn't spill a drop.
Foy, good to see you.
Good to be seen.
I feel a little like I should make a request. It's almost like our own little piano bar.
You can request something if you like.
Oh, no, that's well, we'll get to it later, but I will request Piano Man. So, the new record, The Wild Swan, it's on Ed Sheeran's label. Ed's an executive producer. Sir Elton John is an executive producer here in the U.S., distributed by Atlantic. Terrific record. What's it like when you go to the record company and say, well, the first song is called Noam Chomsky is a Soft Revolution? It's just a lighthearted rocking number about a political theorist.
Well, they said, what? Norm Chomsky is in Software Solutions? What kind of song? No, you know what? The beauty of signing with Ed was that he let me go and do the record that I wanted to do, you know. So I could have taken it anywhere, you know. But that was the whole point, you know. He wanted to sort of endorse me, I guess, you know, and let me do what I wanted to do. So the first song could have been anything.
Well, let's get to why it was that then. Why put that one up front, and why sing about Noam Chomsky?
Because Noam Chomsky is a soft revolution. I don't know if you guys have checked him out online or whatever, but his books are dense. His books are like, I'm not smart enough to read his books, but to listen to him talking is the most fascinating thing, because he says these like leveling realities, but in such a softly spoken voice. He's like your granda, you know. He's like your granda asking you if you'd like a mint, but yet he's saying these like mind.
But instead, he's telling you why the world political structure is built on lies, and why we ought to do it a whole different way.
Yeah.
And so this is, you watch him on YouTube in order to relax and get in touch with your feelings about your granddad?
Just to listen to his voice.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's a really interesting song, because it's about, like you mentioned, Carl Perkins and James Brown and Aretha Franklin, and then boom, you drop Noam Chomsky's name. So it's almost like you're saying he's the version of the mind what those are for the body.
Oh, absolutely. You know, I mean, the whole song. I wanted to write about 18 verses for that song, because there are so many revolutionaries in music and literature and arts in any form that just you didn't go with the flow of how things should have been. They decided, no, this is how I'm doing it, and Noam Chomsky is one of those guys. Do you know what? I think I kind of wrote that song just to appear smart, if I'm being honest.
Okay, well,
I don't know anything about the guy.
You said that signing with Ed gave you a chance to make whatever record you wanted, which is clearly an important thing to you. It was quite a long gap in between that first full-length album and the second full-length album, The Joy of Nothing, right?
Right.
6 or 7 years, right?
Might have been something like that, yeah.
Why so long? What took you so long to get to the place where you could make the second record that you wanted to make?
That was never really part of the... I never thought about the fact that it was 7 years, or I was too busy making sandwiches and doing school runs and cleaning the house and, you know, getting on with life. So no, there was no rhyme or reason to why it took so long to do another record. I was just getting on with whatever, you know.
And was that the time that had you been living in London and moved to Scotland during that time? Or?
I lived in London for 7 years, and I lived in London for 7 years too long. Like, you know, it's a great city. I mean, it's like New York in a sense that it's, you know, so enigmatic. You know, you walk through London and, you know, Westminster, Big Ben, you know, the Thames. It's so rich in history and beauty, but to live there, like you know, I was gigging every hole in the wall. to try and pay for this London dream. You know, and I'd get woke up at like 6 a.m. by Damien, the Polish tire fitter, across the road. You know, I'm thinking, what am I doing living in? So now I live in Scotland, like in the Highlands. And when I open my back door in the morning, you can't hear anything other than the River Tay. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. My prerequisite for a house in Scotland was somewhere that is quiet and I can piss outside.
Okay. Mission accomplished, presumably?
Mission completely accomplished.
Okay. All right.
I'm forever pissing out there.
He says as he has more beer. Tell me a little bit. You're born in Ireland.
Mm-hmm.
But you came here to the United States for a while, is that right?
Yeah, so my dad was a preacher, and he came out to the States when I was about 7 months old, and he got offered a job to build a church in Oklahoma, at a little town called Canton, Oklahoma. And so he moved us all out there for three or 4 years or whatever it was, 5 years, I can't remember. I was a kid. What did I know? But yeah, I sort of grew up there for a little bit.
How many of you were there?
My 3 older brothers and my mom and dad.
Hmm. And so it was just 3 or 4 years?
Something like that, yeah. Yeah, it was something like that. You know what? It was an interesting the thing with that was... like we moved straight back home after 4 years, whatever it was. But it was like my dad always talked about America like it was the Mecca, like it was the land of milk and honey. Mm. So we kind of grew up with our eyes set on your horizons over here. You know, yeah. I don't think it really. I didn't properly grow up there, but I grew up wanting to be here and kind of looking to here, and now I'm just talking. I don't know what I'm saying anymore.
Well, tell me a little more. When did playing the guitar come into the picture for you?
Always, man, always. I mean, my dad played guitar. I grew up in a family of singers, and my granny had this thing where, you know, everybody had to do their piece. So if she was here, she'd insist that everybody here had to do something, you know, like a song or a poem or something. So I grew up around music in that sense.
And so your granny would make everyone do their piece. This was dinner time. Would you have to do it
Just any time she was there. As soon as she arrived, it was on.
And when did you start writing songs?
On the 31st of January, 1999.
Are you just having a go here, or is that true?
That's kind of true, actually.
Yeah?
It is kind of true. Yeah. It's too dark a story for this. This is like a happy AOL session. I've been writing songs for a while, but they were so bad, just terrible. You know, they didn't mean anything, and I was doing that sort of 19-year-old thing where I was trying to, you know, be philosophical, and you know, but I didn't know anything about life, so they just sounded like horseshit. Oh,
no, it's fine. We're fine.
We can say that.
We can say horseshit.
All right, good. But on the do you know what?
You just so you know, you can't piss outside, but you can say horseshit.
I will piss outside.
Okay, all right.
I'll do as I please.
All right, okay. New York, be warned.
Do you know what? Yeah. So the night my father died. I'm sorry about this story, by the way.
Please.
But the night that my father died, I lived in Lanzarote in the Canary Islands, and I was playing this gig in a pub called the Jellyfish, and I often used to make up songs to see if I could get away with it, you know, and nobody would notice. And I was singing this song, and the lyrics were, "Jesus is coming like a thief in the night." And I sort of passed it off, and My wife at the time, she's not my wife now, thank God. My wife at the time said, "What was that song you were singing?" And I was, I don't know what it was. I was sort of making it up, but it felt like it had something right, and it kind of affected me. And I went home that night, and I was very upset, like, was sort of crying the whole way through the night for whatever reason, just didn't know what was going on, and woke up to like 14 missed calls on my phone, and as I was singing that song, my father was dying on the other side of the world. And I went out the back after I spoke to my mum. I went out the back and I finished that song that I had started writing the night before, and it just poured out of me. And then for about 3 or 4 months after that, it was like being accosted. It was quite visceral. Sort of songs were constantly happening and always hateful, painful stuff to write, but like they kept coming and coming and coming. So that was when I started writing songs. Thankfully now, life's a bit happier, so so I'm writing happier songs. Sorry about that story.
No, not at all. Thank you for sharing it. Tell me a little bit. You have the mark of Ed Sheeran on you there, don't you? On your arm.
You make it sound like the mark of the beast. You have the mark of Ed Sheeran.
But the two of you worked on a song together, and you have a tattoo commemorating this. Am I right?
Yeah. But you know what? If I tell you the story about this, it's going to be so morbid. Because
It is
it's
also
about death
story.
again.
It is also so. Let's back it up a bit and tell a happier story. Tell me a little bit about getting to know Ed and collaborating with him.
Oh, do you know what? What a wee guy. Like, what a wee guy. He's unbelievable. I first met him, apparently I first met him after one of my gigs, but I don't remember that. But the first time I properly met him was on Arthur's Day, which is in Ireland when we celebrate Arthur Guinness, who, give us all joy, right? The bringer of joy. So we celebrate him. And that was the day I met Ed, and we sat backstage in Whelan's pub in Dublin, and just playing songs about, and I was just completely enamored by him. I thought he was amazing, because the truth of the matter is, I don't listen to the radio to listen to to find new artists. I don't really like modern music really at all. So I'd never heard of him. I knew he was a big deal, but I'd never heard anything he'd ever done until he sat in front of me with a guitar, and I spent just 4 hours watching him, going, like, this guy's real, like real. And what is he now? 25. He's 25 years old. He's got the world at his feet, and he knows exactly what to do with it. He's amazing. He's quite an inspiring wee guy.
And the two of you eventually did collaborate on this song, Guiding Light.
Yeah. So Guiding Light's a song that belongs to friends of ours, the McDade family, who are both friends of mine and friends of his, and it made sense to have him on the record, I was a bit apprehensive about having him on the record, because I didn't want it to seem mercenary. You know what I mean? Like some baldy white Irish guy, 41-year-old Irish guy that lives in the mountains, getting some pop star to sing on his record. But the reason he's on that record is because of that song in particular. That's why it's inked on my arm, his arm, and the rest of the McDade family's arms. That's the end of that story. Full stop.
And you continue to not collaborate together, but your new album is on his label. You recorded in Nashville. Mm-hmm. What drew you there, and what was that like?
Well, it was great. What drew me there was Jakir King.
The producer.
The producer.
Worked with Kings of Leon.
They're not the records that I liked.
Okay.
Although they're great records.
Sure.
For the record. The thing that introduced me to Jakir King was an album by Tom Waits called Mule Variations.
Sure.
which is just one of my favorite records of all time. He also did Blood Money and Alice after that, but there's something about that Mule Variations record that, not just the songs are fantastic, but the sonic identity of it.
It's got a real
exquisite.
ancient sound in a modern way.
Oh,
it really
it's just
does.
exquisite,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah.
So I'd known of Jakir for a while, and when he threw his name into the hat, so to speak, about producing this record of mine, I was instantly interested, you know. So I spoke to him and let him know what, you know, the records of his that I really liked and wanted my record to sound like, and he completely got it. He was on board. He was he was a great friend throughout that whole thing. And he has a setup in Blackbird Studios, so it was like obvious that I should do it there because that's his home. You know what I mean? He knows the place inside out. He knows exactly what to do, and yeah, that's why we recorded in Nashville.
And does it meet your aforementioned requirements for a good place to? Is it quiet? Can you piss outside?
It is quiet, and you can piss outside.
Fantastic.
Technically, you're not allowed to piss outside, but I had a word with John, the guy that owned it, and I said, "Listen, I'm going to piss outside."
Well, there you are then.
And he said, "That's fine."
We got time for some questions from the audience.
Hey, Foy. Right here.
Hey.
Thank you for being here. What's your favorite Ed Sheeran song, and will you be going on tour with him?
I don't like any of Ed Sheeran's songs. I could tell you the worst song he's ever written. No, do you know what? The best Ed Sheeran song. Do you know what? It's probably one he's never released. He's got this one called something about penguins on the ice, and he keeps singing it to me anytime I'm in his company. That's my favorite Ed Sheeran song, but he's not released it yet. And I don't know if I'm going on tour with him. You know, I'd happily go on tour with him, obviously, if he asked me, but there are no plans right now.
Oh, sorry.
Hey, Foy. I appreciate a fellow with good facial hair, so my question involves the following. I'm holding the beard gang down, your mustache is on fleek. So how did it come to be, and what's your grooming process?
How did the moustache come to be? Do you know what? That's such an interesting question, isn't it? Because, like, people say that, you know, like, oh, how did you do that? And I think, well, I didn't shave. Like, I mean, that's it. That's all you've got to do. As well, you know, look at you. You're like Wolverine back there. You know, you just don't shave. It's pretty simple. And then, but what I do is I put this little... it's pomade, you know, pomade that they used to use in the 50s. They make a moustache wax now. I shouldn't be saying this because I have my own moustache wax, but I don't use it. I should be promoting that, really, shouldn't I?
I'll leave it up to you.
So I use Foy Vance moustache wax, which all the big stars are using today.
Yeah. How's it going? Hi, Foy.
Hey, yeah.
So I'm a recent graduate from music school, and now I'm doing the whole music grind thing in the city. So as someone that's done it yourself, I was wondering, as someone starting out, what would you suggest as far as, like, you know, what to be doing? Yeah.
Just shout.
Just show.
Well, you know what, man? It depends on what you want. It really depends on what you want. You know, if there are lots of ways to skin this cat, really. You know, and I think the key is to keep on going, really, and keep on doing what you feel, what feels right to you. You know. That's what's worked for me anyway. You know, what am I, 41, 42 or something I am now. And I've just signed to, the first time ever, to a major label at this age. You know, so it's like there's no rhyme or reason to this, to a creative life. I'm talking such a pile of
We
horse
got
shit.
time for one more question.
How's it going, Foy?
Yeah, it's going good. I'm still struggling with how badly I fucked up that last. But it's going good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Right over here.
Where are you? There you are there.
How's it going? Whenever you have like writer's block in a sense, do you
Never.
ever? Never? Okay, well, my question's gone then, I guess. But
No, go ahead. Always.
Well, okay, so I'll tweak it a little bit. Has there ever been a life moment or an experience that you've had that you really look back to and reflect on that has helped you in your career?
No. That was a way better answer than the previous one, though, wasn't it?
Well, it was shorter.
What was that about? Well, you know, sometimes you go through life and you get, you know, what was that about? No.
Do you have a strategy for writer's block, or do you just walk away from it?
You know what? I don't really have writer's block because I'm happy to write terrible songs. Like, and I think that's part of it. Like, writing a song is easy. It's the easiest thing in the world. Writing a good song or a song that's articulate, that's where it gets tricky. But to write a song is easy. You know, we could write one now. You know, 2 minutes, be done. May not be good, but so no, I never really get writer's block. And I think the thing is, I know a lot of writers, like lots of friends of mine who are like, you know, they sit down of a morning to try and write a song, whereas I've never done that, ever. It seems like the worst thing in the world to me. You know, the last song I got when I was fitting a tap in the garden. I was plumbing a tap out to my outside garden, so it was like I had to shower the garden or whatever. And as I was doing that, the song was coming. I think you need to, well, for me, I like to do normal things, like life things, and then songs kind of come. If you don't pay attention to them, it's like they come up, you know, and wrap their tail around your leg like a wee pussycat, you know. But if you focus on them too much, they're like, they're away.
And then when you're in the garden doing the plumbing and the song comes, do you stop what you're doing and go work on
No.
the song, or you keep going and leave the song for later?
I treat the song bad. I let it know I don't care about you. You know, you could come or not come. I don't care. And then the more I do that, the more it kind of, and then it, you know.
Well, there you have it. It's just that easy.
Songs are like pussycats.
There you are. Well, we're going to leave it there, and then you're going to share some of the pussycats with us in a more direct manner.
I'm keeping all my pussycats to myself.
All right, then.